For the Week 6 matchup between the Washington Commanders and Chicago Bears on Thursday Night Football, I think it's going to be an interesting one. Obviously, yes, both teams are kind of heading in, kind of rough directions, I would say. The Commanders starting out 1-4 in kind of a tough division. Like, that division is weird. Like, the NFC East, you've got 3 teams that are all 4-1 right now. The Giants are 4-1. Brian Daboll's got them playing out of their minds right now. You got to love it. But overall, I still feel like this game on Thursday night could be more interesting than a lot of people think, because you see on paper, these two teams are kind of similar in terms of, yes, they've got, obviously on the offensive side of the football, you give the slight edge to the Commanders here, Carson Wentz and company. I actually feel like he's played pretty respectfully, especially since the Commanders have had some doozy quarterbacks in the day, but especially back in the day. But Carson Wentz, I think, has been respectable. You got Antonio Gibson, Brian Robinson, who I think is going to be, he's going to have a bigger impact than a lot of people think. And then the receivers, you got Terry McLaurin, you've got Curtis Samuel, Jahan Dotson. Like, they are truthfully stacked at the wide receiver position. I think it's only a matter of time. Also, we made a video about De'Ami Brown. Make sure you guys check that out, because he absolutely blew up last week. It was like 2 catches, 103 yards, and 2 touchdowns. That offensive line, I'll admit, we made a video about Samuel Cosmi. Felt like he was going to be a big guy that came out and would break out for the Commanders. We were wrong so far. We'll admit when we're wrong, but for now, we'll just see how he rebounds and all that kind of stuff. And I know he showed up on the injury report and all that. We will get into the injury report in just a second. But so the Commanders are actually pretty stacked offensively. Like, they are low key actually really stacked. And then you go to the Bears, who in my mind, Justin Fields, we saw it a little bit this last week against the Vikings. He was able to get the passing game going a little bit. Obviously, he burned the Vikings on a couple of runs there. I think that that's going to be definitely something the Commanders want to watch, and really have a guy on him as a spy, because he can absolutely beat you with his legs. He's so lethal. And then David Montgomery and the rest of the running game had kind of a tougher day against the Vikings, but it is what it is. Darnell Mooney, that one-handed catch was just nasty. And despite what a lot of people think, this Bears offensive line has gotten a lot better. We've seen some bad offensive lines, but I really feel like a lot of this, whether it's Braxton Jones, and I know Cody Whitehair was on IR. I believe it was Ja'Tyre Carter that started in his place. But overall, there's a lot to go off of with this particular offensive line for the Bears. And then defensively, like, you truthfully have a really good defensive end in Robert Quinn for the Bears. Also, Travis Gibson really showed up against the Vikings. Roquan Smith in the middle of it all, and a very good secondary. Now, they have had trouble stopping the run, which I think we'll get into in a second with the Commanders and how they can exploit that. The Commanders, on the other hand, I mean, yes, you've got all those guys that can play defense. They got a really good defensive line, You got Jamin Davis, Cole Holcomb, and all those guys. Actually, a very respectable defensive unit in my mind as well. My biggest question is, by the way, Fedarian Mathis, that was just a huge loss. I'm sorry, that was absolutely awful. But I think it's going to be interesting when you look at both of these teams, offense and defensively, because offensively, the Commanders should blow the Bears out of the water. I'm just going to call a spade a spade. But the Bears have hung with a lot of teams this year. Eberflus has them playing very well against teams. They're kind of punching above their belts, or their weight, right now, which is amazing. It's definitely amazing what quality head coaching can do, and I think he's definitely going down the right path. Then as far as the Commanders' offensive prowess, I'll say, is, Carson Wentz to me has been really respectable. His offensive line has been awful, though. This man has been getting sacked a lot. I think if they can give him any semblance of help, I think it could really help him out, because despite the fact that this man has been pressured, he still, in my mind, has been a lot better quarterback than a lot of teams have had during the past. And we can even say that for my Vikings or the Commanders, even Justin Fields to a degree. But keys for the game. So, Commanders, I gotta say, it's got to be the Brian Robinson watch, because yes, last week they had a tough time. It looked like they just really couldn't get out in front of a lot of blocks, helping him run the ball, catching the football. I feel like he's gonna blow up. The Bears have had a tough time taking it to opposing running backs, if you will. Dalvin Cook had over 100 all-purpose yards last week, a couple of touchdowns. I believe they're dead last in the NFL in allowing in rushing, And I think that they're going to be able to, the Commanders, that is, they're going to be able to run the football. Antonio Gibson, Brian Robinson, they're going to be able to get it done. Now, Carson Wentz, I think you got to keep him comfortable. Even if he does get sacked a couple times, which, I mean, the Bears' defensive line is pretty respectable, as well as the rest of the defensive unit there. I think you got to keep him comfortable because you have too many weapons. You have too many weapons. Jahan Dotson, Terry McLaurin, Logan Thomas. I know Curtis Samuel. We're missing some guys, I know. But if you could give this guy just a little, a scintilla amount of time, I think he could do some damage, especially against the Bears. And then I think you got to spy Justin Fields. We covered it. Defensively, the Commanders, obviously, you got to shut down the run because that's basically how the Bears are going to beat you, but you have to spy Justin Fields. I don't know who you put on him. Maybe Jamin Davis. Cole Holcomb, I think you want to leave him more into the run game side of things, away from that, because I think Jamin Davis can keep up with Justin Fields to a degree. Obviously, Justin Fields is his own monster in his own right, but overall, you got to definitely see it. I definitely would love to see them put a spy on Justin Fields because, I mean, the dude is just an absolute animal. He is an absolute animal. So I'm really interested to see how they do combat that that issue, I will say. And then also on the Bears side of things, you got to keep the passing game going. Justin Fields took a huge step forward in my mind. I felt like he was actually able to get something going in a lot of ways against the Vikings, whether it was that just lob and Darnell Mooney making a heck of a play there. You got to give him nothing but love and respect there. It was absolutely amazing. But, I also do feel like this does come down to the fact that you can't really live in the NFL. You can't really get things done in the NFL if you cannot have some semblance of a passing game. And I think the Bears are going to continually get better at that. I just think that it comes down to how can they continue to really develop the rest of that game. And I think that does go to a kind of a yes, I understand that his offensive line isn't the greatest. He's mainly going to run the football. I totally understand that, but I feel like there just needs to be an effort to continue to develop that passing game. Also, dance with the one who brung you. I like your running game has been getting you and keeping you in games for a long time now. I mean, yes, you want to have more designed runs for a guy like Justin Fields. Also, I would love to see the rookie Tristan Ebner more involved for the Bears. Obviously, Montgomery's a stud. I would really like to see the Commanders just continue to really establish that run. Their offensive line has done a very good job of helping them out. So, yeah, dance with the one who brung you, be able to run the football. And then the Carson Wentz frenzy. You got to get after Carson Wentz. It's kind of similar in how the Commanders should spy on Justin Fields. I don't think you're going to sack Justin Fields a lot, but I think Carson Wentz is one of those guys that can get got. I mean, he's been pressured a lot this year, been sacked a lot this year. I think you really have to unleash the dogs and get after him. Like, you just have to get after Carson Wentz because I think that, yes, while the Commanders might be able to run the football, I think if you can take away one element of all those different targets and Jahan Dotson and company, yeah, it's definitely going to be something to watch. But as far as the injury report, so this obviously video was made the day before, and so we're going to talk a little bit about Wednesday. This is before the Wednesday's practice, but so far Percy Butler does look like he might not participate for the Commanders. His status still remains up in the air, as pretty much all these players. Samuel Cosmi, his finger, did not participate on Monday and Tuesday. We'll see if he's a go, as well as Jahan Dotson has had that hamstring that hamstring injury. Did not participate on Monday or Tuesday, as well as Jonathan Williams. It was kind of a short week for the Commanders. We'll extend that olive branch where it's due. De'Ami Brown, I expect him to be ready to go. I think he should be fine, but we'll have to see there. But as far as Logan Thomas, I think he's another player that could potentially miss this game. When you talk about the fact, he's got a calf injury. He went from limited on Monday to a DNP on Tuesday. Usually that means there was a setback or a re-aggravation of the industry. So, it will definitely be something to watch. Then as far as the Bears, Matt Adams, he did have a calf injury. He was a non-participant on Monday and was placed on IR on Tuesday. But the rest of it looks pretty good. I think N'Keal Harry could make an appearance here for the Bears. We'll just have to see how it all goes down. Jalen Johnson, that quad injury, I think he's going to be good to go as well for the Bears, and I think it's going to be really interesting and good for him to get him back. So at 100%, that is. So I think this is going to be a very fun game. I think both teams are definitely going to do their best to obviously run the football, establish their running games, and then let their quarterbacks and defenses do the rest. And overall, prediction. I really feel like the Commanders start to get it together. Now, the Bears, they've lost a couple straight now. I really feel like the Commanders are kind of, the writing is on the wall. 1-4, 1-5. There's not a lot of teams that get that kind of come back from that. I feel like the Commanders really squeak one out here. We'll go 23-20, a slight edge to the Commanders. The Bears are a good team. I think it's just going to take them a little bit before they can really start to put some things together. But that's it. That's our Week 6 preview for the Washington Commanders on Thursday Night Football versus the Chicago Bears. Make sure you guys like and subscribe down below. Leave a like and a comment. It helps people find the show. We greatly appreciate all the support that we've gotten and continue to get. You guys are all truthfully awesome. We love every single one of you. Down in the description below, you'll find all of our social media platforms. So give us a like and a follow there. Also, remember to give us a listen and sub on iTunes. And finally, if you have anything else you'd like us to cover, send us an email at thesportsbp@yahoo.com or put it in the comment section down below and we would love to cover it. But let us know what you guys think about our Week 6 preview for the Washington Commanders versus Chicago Bears on Thursday Night Football.